Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to the podcast, back to Tomboy Official. Oh my gosh, it's day 9, and my gosh. So, I recorded maybe 45 minutes earlier, and of course, something happened with my Wi-Fi. I think it was because I was outside the house, and again, the Wi-Fi disconnected while it was recording, and then of course the episode didn't fully save, and so I don't really know where it was going off of that one. But anyways, for day 9 of Aina's Keys, book by Aina Brion, the topic today is starting the chapter of what's called mirror work. Now, you guys know I'm only reading a couple pages at a time, so I don't really know exactly what the definition of mirror work is. I'm assuming it's either something like shadow work or something like reflections of some form. Do I know? No, because I haven't really actually read the full chapter. But I'm gonna read it. I'll eventually get through it. 2 and some pages at a time, because we're trying to get it to a 30-day mark. Dude, we're almost like a third of the way through. Like, tomorrow we're gonna already be a third of the way through, and we barely just started. So anyways, this section about mirror work, the topic of mirror work, the chapter called mirror work, she starts talking about frequencies and how our frequencies, our energy frequencies are, I guess there was something she was quoting where she said, something along the lines of whatever you're kind of most frequently thinking of kind of determines your frequency. I don't have the book right in front of me, but basically that's kind of what it said. And so she went into some other examples about like memories and thoughts and things like that you might have attachments to, and maybe somebody's opinions of you, that maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not, or maybe you interpret it as accurate, or maybe you interpret it as inaccurate. Like, sometimes we kind of just bring things with us into the future, even if it's like 3 decades ago or something. It's like, oh my goodness, why am I still thinking about this stupid thing that happened when I was like 8, and so like, and it can be obnoxious, but basically she's tying all that together to kind of talk about initially what she was saying about frequencies. And so, like, I can tell that, my frequencies are like way off sometimes, like, especially, like, I'd say lower times for my own experiences in life usually is early in the morning. I've talked about it on here multiple times, but I would say that I wake up pretty early. But the time I wake up is not the time I sleep, right? That didn't make any sense. That's not what I meant. I meant the time I wake up is not the time that I eat, not sleep. The time I wake up is not the time that I eat, like breakfast, right? There's a long gap. Like, I usually eat breakfast around 8 a.m. Lately, I'm up between 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., and I've been watching the sun rise because that's what happens when you're up when it's dark. I rarely go back to sleep right away, so I'm just up, and then by the time I eat breakfast, I'm just up. So I have rearranged my schedule a little bit. Like, I used to wake up, like you guys know, I used to wake up, have some coffee. That's when I was waking up closer to like 6:30 a.m. I would get caffeinated, do some podcast recordings, post it early in the morning. When I was working at 8 a.m., I'd be like fixing breakfast and stuff, and usually eating around the time I was starting work and podcasting before work. But now I have actually shifted my podcast episodes. Instead of posting at midnight, I've been kind of posting later in the day. You've probably noticed, like, I've kind of been all over the place with it, but I have been kind of having more chill mornings, and then, like, in the afternoon, having a little coffee in the afternoon, just trying it, because I'm trying to get some stuff done later in the day, doing some more creative stuff and important studying and stuff later in the day versus like in the morning. So I do have that gap in the morning, and I notice for my own like energy and just moods in general, like I'm a moody person. I'm kind of grouchy, grumpy in the morning. I'm not usually trying to talk to anybody or be around anybody or interact with anybody or just have to, put in any energy to any other person if I don't feel like it. Like, I usually feel fine when I'm by myself overall. Like, I'm a little bit, like, more, like, negative about, like, I don't want to interact with anyone. Like, I don't, like, when I've lived with housemates, family, whatever it may be, usually first thing in the morning, I'm like, I hope that somebody doesn't try to talk to me when I'm going into the bathroom, or I hope that somebody doesn't try to talk to me when I go in the kitchen, or wherever I'm going in the morning. I just hope that people will just leave me alone. But I feel like I've never really lived with anybody who really kind of gets that, and they always want to be polite and try to like talk, and I'm like, to me this is not polite, dude. I want to be alone. But you know how it is. So I would say like my frequency in the morning is usually probably bad. Pretty low. Like, I wouldn't say that it's like pleasant. Like, mornings can be pretty hard, but sometimes they're okay. It's just, I think sometimes it's more myself. It's definitely more myself. Like, I've heard of people saying like their blood sugar can be an issue. So something simple as like eating earlier or snacking earlier can help those kind of grumpy mornings, especially because I'm not eating for like 2.5 to 3 hours before I start my day. But the reason I do that is because I don't want to be waking up hungry at like 5:30 in the morning and having to cook breakfast. Because what if I do want to sleep in? I don't want to be up on like a Sunday morning at 5:30 like making food, and it's like it just throws me off. And then lunch isn't till all the way at like noon or 1 or something like that. So it's like I don't really like eating early, because then it just doesn't make sense to me, because then you're still going like a really long period of the day without food. Like, I can snack in between, but it's like I just don't arrange my schedule like that. And I think it's kind of my own fault that I'm kind of grouchy in the morning, because I don't arrange my schedule like that. And I also eat dinner ridiculously early. So I eat dinner usually around 4 p.m., maybe 5:30 p.m. Usually by 6 p.m. I've eaten dinner. And so because I eat dinner so early, and because I eat breakfast so late, I'm usually having a gap of like multiple hours of like not really eating. Like, I'll snack, like have some berries, definitely hydrate and stuff like that. But I'm just a little particular with my schedule sometimes, and I don't want to budge from them, and then I'll complain that I don't feel like at the optimal level that I want to feel. But whatever, that's kind of how it is. It's kind of my own choice, right? But one thing I think that really helps, I'm not just talking about mornings necessarily, but moods and things like that. Like, one thing that really helps is kind of just using skills. Like, I know it might sound stupid, but like using the skills that work. So I know kind of what works for me, but doing it and knowing it are two different things, right? Like meditation works for me, reflection works for me, things that are kind of like prayerful works for me, music, just even like relaxing sounds, or just focusing on something that's kind of more relaxing, and just like low stimulation environments really help me. Like, I've mentioned this on here before, like, I don't like it when I go to a gas station and there's like a freaking screen that's like on some little monitor with a little advertisement while I'm trying to pump gas. It's like, dude, like, shut up. I'm trying to focus. Like, do I really need to watch TV while I'm pumping my gas? Or when I'm like in a waiting room or a lobby somewhere or whatever, and they've got like the news playing, or like at the airport and they've got TVs everywhere. It's like, I hate TV as it is, and so to me it stresses me out to be like in an environment where there's like just televisions playing, and it's not even something that I want to see. Like at the gym, when I'm trying to like, exercise a little bit on an elliptical, I'm not trying to like watch like the next destruction of landslides that happen because of all the storms, or who's drowning in what place and where the earthquakes hit and all. Like, I don't need to know all that. Like, I'm just trying to get in 30 minutes on an elliptical or something. I wasn't here to like hear this depressing story about something that doesn't pertain to my life immediately, and just trying to focus on the immediate stuff that actually is in my own life versus every single problem that exists on the face of the planet. Like, I don't think that's healthy for me. Like, I really just try to stay away from it, in all honesty. But it's not easy, because it's just, our society just bombards people with random information, just assuming people want that distraction. I am not one of those people who wants that distraction. Thank you very much. I can do without it. And so usually I don't want it, but sometimes people want you to have it, they get ratings, they get something out of it. But to me, it's like, man, I get sick of being advertised to and like all this kind of stuff. Like, it's not for me. So in my own life, that's something that I really try to cut out as much as possible. But I do notice, it's easy to get overwhelmed, just because living in a city, and then there's just always something, going on. And so that's just like one difficult kind of scenario of things that happen. But something that's kind of more like talking about the use of skills. What I was trying to explain earlier before my recording got deleted or whatever, it basically won't load, so I don't have that recording. So basically, if I can try to explain this again. So if you think about something that kind of happens, whether it's like automatic, something that you do or think automatically, but you're kind of like aware of it, right? So say if you have like something that's easy for me is like when I live with people, like I'm very particular about my energy being spent, so when I was living with housemates, you guys all know the story, I've vented about this so much, but basically I didn't like having to come out of my room like when I'm just trying to do some mundane thing, or like grab a snack from the cabinet or whatever, and then one of the housemates catches me in the kitchen and wants to start this long ass conversation about like God only knows what, and they're just like unloading on you about something. Like maybe they're just like, like, oh, my day's so hard, and like it's like, I didn't come out here for this, and like, especially because I was working in therapy. It's like the last thing I want to do is talk to somebody else about their problems. And it's like, not even like just in passing. So I used to walk around the house with earbuds in, and then people would know specifically, or I would literally just ignore people sometimes. They'd start talking to me, and I would literally just like walk away, because I would just assume that like, I would just hope that they would assume that I'm listening to something that's so loud that like, they didn't catch my attention. But it was like the only way to just get people to leave me the heck alone. It was like, dude, I don't want to talk about your psychological issues every time I leave my room. And it's like, when you're living with 4 other people who want to talk to you about all their problems, it's like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I don't want to talk to any of you anyways, and then like, I don't want to talk about this. So there would be situations like that where I would be like, okay, I would get like frustrated with it. And it would be annoying. But when it comes to like social settings or social annoyances like that, I mean, those are like the best things that first came to my mind, but I'm pretty sure there's others. But just something as simple as just like a mild amount of anger, right? A mild amount of being annoyed, right? So something as simple as just being like, this is irritating, and I can feel like my heart rate is like I'm not like super like overwhelmed, but like even if it's like, I was coming out here to get like some almonds or something, I wasn't coming out here to like do all this, and so sometimes it just takes that amount of time to be like okay, now I go back to my room and I'm like a little bit like annoyed, like something like that, the aftermath of it, I feel like wouldn't naturally last that long, right? If you're already in a good mood, you'd probably be like, whatever, like maybe like you watch something on Netflix right when you go back to your room and like you're just kind of like, you forget about it, right? But then sometimes it's like you can be extra frustrated with a situation and you'll be thinking on it like longer than that, just out of anger or just whatever, and just be like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe how this person's being or how they are and how annoying they are, or it could be anything. Insert your own situation here. And then basically, so what am I trying to get at? So basically, sometimes you know what's going on, like you don't feel perfect. You're like, I don't feel, I felt fine before I left my room to get these walnuts, and now I don't feel fine returning to my room. Like, even if you're not like completely like distraught or something, like, but you're just like, I left my room feeling negative, came back to my room feeling left my room feeling positive, to go get these walnuts, came back in, now I feel negative because of that situation, right? And so sometimes it's just a matter of, once you notice that you feel something that's unpleasant, just being able to get to a space where you can kind of automatically tune in to it, and just, instead of spiraling and letting it go a certain distance, like keep on thinking about it and getting more and more frustrated about these people and this thing and this situation. Oh my gosh, they're so annoying and blah, 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 blah. They won't leave me alone or whatever it is, and losing sleep over it. Like, you go to sleep let's say 5 hours later, you go to sleep and now you're still thinking about that situation because you're still pretty annoyed by it, versus being like, early on, realizing, hey, I'm annoyed. What do I do when I'm annoyed? Like, there's stuff I can do that can calm me down. And there's stuff, like, not really to just, like, negate it or be, like, invalidating to yourself and be like, just ignore it, just, like, push it aside and just, like, do some breathing technique and just, like, fuck it, it doesn't really matter. Like, that's not really what I mean. But sometimes, especially if it's something that's really not a big deal, you can kind of just find a way to kind of let things go. And find a way to kind of change your own frequency by noticing what you need to do to change the frequency. But the problem often is that, for us humans, it's easy to realize, hey, I went from feeling positive to feeling negative, and then staying in that negative space until it just kind of naturally decreases, instead of getting into that negative space and then just being like, you're like, like light bulb, like, I know what I can do right now because I don't want to feel this way, so let me do something healthy to feel different. And then insert skill here, and you do that, whatever is going to work for you. So first is learning what works for you. Second, it's doing what works for you, but also being aware of when your energy shifts, and then actually doing that thing at that time, or soon after, or slowly doing something. And I think that, for me, is one of the hardest things, is like putting those things together right away, like quickly. Like, I can notice, like, man, why am I still like irritated with this situation? And it's like, it's really not a big deal. And I'm like, I didn't do anything about it but sit here and complain inside my own head about this stupid situation. That's why I don't feel better. It's like, and sometimes it's like, oh, like, why didn't I do that thing I did yesterday? Because that really helped me and I felt a lot better. And then it's like, then I'll just remember to do something. And then sometimes with some problems, it's like I'll know exactly what to do right away. And then other times it takes a while to kind of naturally get into a rhythm of like, oh, if A happens and then I feel B, then do C, like do kind of a sequence of things that like there's like a sequence of things that can kind of like help, but sometimes it's just it's hard to kind of catch it and then do the thing that's going to help. It's easier to just sit in it and just brood, or sit in it and be like upset, or sit in it and let it ruin a couple hours or 30 minutes or 20 minutes of the day. That's kind of more naturally how I've handled things. It's just let it just just keep in my head, until I kind of do something different. And one thing I learned from, was I saying this earlier? I can't remember if I recorded about this earlier, but one thing I learned from that I've talked about this guy before, kind of a weird YouTube channel. His name is Lincoln from Channel Higher Self. He talks a lot about creativity, and I've definitely found creative projects, either writing poetry or just writing, just journaling, or like drawing, or making up some little beat to something, or like some kind of like rhythm or some chord progressions or something, and just get the energy out of you, just get it out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to sound pretty or look pretty or like be some kind of painting you're going to hang up somewhere or give to somebody as a gift. It's like sometimes just doing something creative can help, if nothing else. And so, yeah, those are kind of the basics. That's basically, for me, that's kind of the basics of things that have to do with frequency. At the moment, I don't really have anything too different in my life to really share about that isn't something I've been talking about recently. Like, I talk a lot about my living situation. I talk a lot about the frustrations with things, even though it's a blessing, and I know that it is, that I'm having a lot of blessings in my life and being able to kind of do things in ways that I didn't think I was able to, and able to kind of have experiences that, especially with the freedom that I have right now. I know a lot of people would love time off work, like that would be great for them, like everybody needs times off work, but I'm kind of, trying to, pay attention to the fact that there's definitely stuff that I could improve, and I'm still trying to work on my health and work on myself and work on things. And through this podcast, I mean, like, it's been, since 2020 in the making, like, I think, I've come a distance. Like, I'm coming up in a few months. I'll be coming up on almost a year of having been out of San Diego and out of that wild house that I was living in. And, like, I can definitely tell that I feel quite a bit better, like, in a lot of ways, but there's still a lot that's, like, a little frustrating, just because I'm like, all right, like, I'm still skipping some stuff here. Like, today, I don't think I worked out today. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I do feel a lot better when I get some exercise. Like, I've talked about it before, but I've been doing these like balance board exercises. So those are pretty fun. But yeah, I didn't go to the library today like I thought I was going to do, because it was raining earlier, and that just threw me off. Like, I was like, it wasn't raining by the time the library would have been open. Like, it was raining at like 5, 6 in the morning. So, and it didn't rain like later in the day, so I don't really know, but I just kind of just didn't feel it. So yeah, I kind of stayed home today, stayed home yesterday, but I also was out of town from like Saturday to like Tuesday or something. So, I was like, maybe I need to stay home. And then I'll be out of town again Friday to Monday. So just the weekend pretty much, but I'll be thrilled to be down in San Diego for a second. Um, but that's kind of all I have to say for these pages. I think we're near page 23, near the top of page 23 now. And then I'll record more tomorrow for day 10. That'll be a third of the way through. Is it just me, or is this month going freaking fast? Like, I feel like it's almost April, and I don't know how that happened, and I don't understand this. I don't know, man. So I'll go through my day, because I've been doing that as part of this process. Pretty much woke up, it was probably like 5:30 a.m. or something around those lines. I think it was 5:20 a.m., but I actually looked at my clock, at my phone clock at like 5:30. But I was up before 5:30. But another, I took melatonin last night. Instead of taking one gummy, I took two. And again, I woke up like 2 or 3 times to go to the restroom. So I think now I've verified that it is those gummies, because otherwise I don't usually wake up to go to the bathroom that many times. So my sleep didn't feel great, but whatever. Woke up. I was kind of stressed when I woke up. I'm just now remembering this. I had some weird, stressful dreams. I can't remember the first one, and I didn't write it down, and I thought I was going to remember it. I don't know why. I always think I'm going to remember it, and I never do. But the second one, there were some... So you guys know I follow, like, a lot of YouTubers, like Arrows, and Jade Fox, and... they made it into my dream. I want to say it was Krissa, from Case, the one that does the basketball tricks. I don't know who else. I don't know. There were like maybe, I think there were like a couple people I knew, but it was all like, all or mostly minorities who were female born. I think most of them were African American. And I don't know what the purpose of the dream was. I was like teaching a class or something. I can like almost see how it looked, but I don't remember specifically. It was almost like if you take a movie theater, but without the chairs going down, like kind of in that little stadium style, like just kind of flat though. Like you wouldn't have to go upstairs, but there was kind of like a screen still, and the light was on. It was like lit. It kind of looked like an auditorium, and they were in the back. And I don't know what I was teaching. I think I was lecturing. I don't know what the heck this dream was about. I was lecturing about something, and I think it was my job, or I was volunteering. And they were in the back just being kind of like boisterous. So like whatever it was, I was trying to like interview them or talk to them, or like, I think there was maybe like an icebreaker or something we had to do as a class, and the rest of the class had finished it, and then I had them all in the back section, and there was music playing kind of in the background, and it was kind of loud-ish. And I was basically like, okay, maybe I should turn the music off, but I'm like, no, this is like part of the class, because the people need to have this experience with this music playing. Like, I don't know what the heck it was playing, but it was some kind of music, or like a track where there was music and like talking in the background or something, and they either weren't listening or weren't participating. But it was like they were more like excited to see each other, excited to be there. But I took it as like, you guys are being like really disrespectful, like at a certain point, because everybody else had finished whatever the heck we were doing in this dream. Everybody else had finished. The whole auditorium had finished, and there were just like probably 6 to 8 people in the back, which was this group of people that was being just kind of like boisterous and loud, and like kind of like standing up. Like everyone else had been sitting down and just like listening, and the whole time they'd been back there just like laughing and talking, and like amongst themselves, and like all this kind of stuff. So I go to the back and they're still like in a back row and I'm trying to like ask these questions, but I realized my throat was like, because I kept trying to like talk and talk, and I'm like, my throat's getting like a little sore from trying to yell over this music because it's like loud, but I'm like, I'm trying to like do this by the book, and like, you know, they wouldn't like shut up. And I was like, man, I was getting like so frustrated, and I was like, man, I just want to tell them to like be quiet so we can do this. But I was like, but am I kind of like in my ego in this situation? And I was all like stressed out. And then like I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what, like what was that all about? Like I was so stressed out because I was like, dude, these guys just aren't listening and they won't calm down. But I'm trying not to be mean to them at the same time. They just won't cooperate. Because I could tell their intention wasn't to be necessarily disrespectful, but they just had so much energy that like I wasn't able to kind of like get through to them. And I was just like getting frustrated with it because I was trying to like think of ways that like we could get this done. And when I realized it was taking really long, I started getting stressed out because I was like losing my voice, and I was like, well, I could turn down the music, but it's like, well, everyone else did this experience with the music at this level, so I don't know if I should alter things for them or like kind of like yell and like make them know like how frustrated I am just so they could like stop. But I'm like, but that's not respectful towards them because I can kind of tell that they're just happy to see each other and happy to be there, and I don't want to like disrupt their joy. But I'm like, we need to get this done. So it was kind of like, you know how my dreams are just all over the place, but that was one of them. The one that I had before that, I don't really remember. It's something that had to do with a parking lot somewhere in San Diego. I don't know what, but I remember walking from one side of the parking lot to another, and it was like two combined parking lots of two separate places that I've been, but the parking lot, there was like one side and another side that in reality in San Diego, these parking lots are nowhere near each other. But I was walking and there was like, you know, overgrown grass and stuff, and I was walking from one place to another for some reason or another, and I can't remember why, but the first dream had something like that, and then the second dream was this other weird one where I was like teaching. I don't even have to teach anytime soon. Like, I don't even know what that was about. Like, I have no idea what that was about, but shout outs to weird dreams. But yeah, so yeah, I didn't sleep too good because of those reasons. Maybe other reasons, but those are the specific things I recall. And then I woke up just being like a little like not fully happy. But I realized like, cause the heater, like sometimes I accidentally leave the bathroom window open, and our household heater is like, I guess the sensor's like right there. And so sometimes it just, I think I kept it on like 68 or 67, but because the window was open, it was on for much of the night. And, you know, I woke up and during like when it was really cold, so the heat had been on, and I think it kind of dried out my throat. So that's why in the dream my throat was getting more and more sore. But I was like, man, I don't usually have bad dreams. Not a lot of them, but this was kind of one of the closer to bad dreams that I've had in a while. Even though it wasn't like bad, I was just like a little stressed out. But I don't know what that was all about. You can go ahead and interpret that one for yourselves. So yeah, I woke up early. I don't know what I did all morning. I talked to some of my East Coast friends this morning about some topics. And then, let me see, I had breakfast. Oh, I went and got McDonald's for me and my mom. I left at like 8:30. I thought, because the schools over here start at 8 o'clock, so I thought, okay, 8:30, I should be clear. It took me like 30 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh. And the line was like to the street. And I'm like, but it's cold and I didn't like properly get dressed. So I was like, I don't want to get out of the car. Like, I was dressed, but like not really like dressed enough to like be walking out in public. Like I was like bundled up and stuff. Like I was just trying to go to McDonald's drive-thru real quick. I ate, so I didn't eat till like 9 actually, and then yeah, it was a wake and bake kind of morning. It wasn't really supposed to be, but after that dream and waking up feeling all weird from that dream, I was just like, it doesn't really make a difference. Plus, I thought it was going to keep raining, so I was like, well, if it's going to rain, then I might as well just, stay home. And then what did I do earlier? I don't know. I've been trying to finish this show called Stiesel. I don't know if I did do that or not. No, I mean, I didn't finish it, but I don't know if I'm getting tired, so I don't know what I'm even talking about sometimes. I don't know if that's what I was watching this morning. I think I can't remember. I don't think I did anything very productive early this morning. I had some snacks around noon, some berries, a Perfect Bar. Most of a Perfect Bar. I don't think I had the whole thing. Probably like more than a third of it though. Or more than 2/3 of it though. I had like a little bit left. And after that, I don't know what I did after that. I didn't write things down up until about 12:20. So I think around noon I started having a little coffee. I was starting to kind of think, okay, I'm going to take a little nap, but I was like, no. Like, get up, let's go, So basically, I was doing my little money planning, starting to get back with my financial planning again. It's been a while, guys. I haven't even talked about that kind of stuff lately because I don't really care. Lately, I just have not cared, and so I have not done it, but basically I canceled a lot of app related things, subscriptions and things. So I realized that's going to be $115 that I don't have to pay for stuff that I didn't realize I was paying for. Long story short, I accidentally renewed my Netflix when I'm on this Netflix with my friend and my sister. So last year, me and my sister paid for Netflix for the three of us, and then this year that friend was very generous and nice and was like, well, let me get you guys this year. So I'm like, that's awesome of you, that's so cool, thank you. And then one day, I think last month, I was trying to put the new Netflix username and password on our household television, because there's this one like anime I like to watch with my mom, and while I was doing that, it was still connected to my old account, and I accidentally renewed my old account. But because I wasn't really using my laptop that much, and I couldn't just like easily unsubscribe, I guess, and I totally forgot. Like, that's the kind of stuff I have to do right away or write it down or something, and I didn't do either of those, and I ended up getting charged in the month of March for Netflix, when I already have Netflix that I'm getting basically for free because of my generous friend. So I was just like, damn it. So I was like, put that on my dang to-do list of something to cancel. I think ESPN Plus and like Disney Go or whatever I don't know what these things are called. So the Netflix was $19.99. The ESPN thing was $9.99. I had Showtime that I had forgotten was $10.99. I had the Gaia app, which I let the trial expire, so that's $11.99. I canceled my Google Fi account. So basically, I had registered for Google Fi. I can barely say it. I had registered for Google Fi because I was getting the SIM card. I was trying to get the Google Fi data SIM card for this pretty nice for the Nighthawk M1 wireless hotspot. So I got a used version of one of those, and I was like, all I need is the freaking Google Fi plan, and I got the SIM card, and then I found out you can't just use the phone SIM card, and so I found out you have to register the phone SIM card in a phone to make it work. And I tried to do it in my iPhone 4 with a little bit of adapters. I didn't get it to work because iPhone 4 is so freaking old. And then I tried to do it with iPhone X10, whatever it's called. But then, when I talked to the people, they basically said, you're going to have to change your number and everything. And I was like, I don't want to change my number. I just want to register this thing so I can get the free data SIM and use the data SIM to pay on my Google Fi account. But they're like, but you have to do it on a phone. And I'm like, I don't want to pay for another freaking phone because I don't want another phone and I don't want another number. But you can't get the data SIM, the data only SIM. You have to have a phone plan and it has to be already connected to a phone. I'm like, this sucks. And so I'm going to have to sell back the freaking hotspot. I'm in the process of that with Amazon, and then I canceled my Google Fi and I got $10 off. But after tax, cause they freaking tax and have fees on your $10 that they give you off. So the original $65 a month actually came to $62.65 a month. And I was about to get billed for that again, even though I paid for it on the 16th. They were going to bill me again by auto pay on the 27th of this month. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with these freaking companies? And they had actually given me a YouTube Premium subscription that I set up. And then I realized now I have 2 YouTube Premiums. So I had to cancel the Google Fi one and then re-register for my one that was $15.99. So I'm actually coming out of pocket for that one, but that's how much I'm going to be saving on these stupid subscriptions. It'll be worth the money. It'll be worth the hassle. I say it took me 20 minutes to do all that, but I think it actually took me 40 minutes because when I realized I had to do the Google Fi thing, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I had to go back and do the YouTube Premium thing. So that took me a while. Did a post on eBay that took me about 40 minutes for some gaming products. By that time it was about 120, and I did some of my affiliate links for one of my cannabis related podcasts. Did some podcasting at 2:17 p.m. And did a little bit for my affiliate links for the financial related topics, but I didn't do everything, and then I ran out of energy and I couldn't focus, and that was basically all I did. When I started podcasting, I recorded for a bit and it didn't save. And so actually looking at the timestamps, it looks like I actually was recording till about 3:07 p.m. And then I spent till probably almost 4 p.m. trying to make it work, and I couldn't. And then I was like, well, let me eat dinner soon. So I ate dinner around 5, and then I kind of just chilled, and I was going to study. So that was most of my day, pretty much. But yeah, you guys know how I roll. I just wanted to put this episode for all you party people, for everybody who's actually listening to these things. Shout out to you guys, man. I don't know how people put up with listening to me just rambling on here, but I enjoy it. It kind of helps me keep track of my day. So some questions. I've got some questions. Let's see if I can open this app without. Sometimes when I open different apps when I'm recording directly into this podcast app, it doesn't like it and it shuts off. So it looks like, yeah, okay. So some exploratory questions for my own life. So basically it's career related stuff. So what gets in the way of thinking about upcoming professional plans? These are things I haven't really fully thought through, so I'm gonna actually be writing on these later on tonight before I go to bed. So breaking down goals, what's gonna help me reach my current goal, which is reading one of the 3. Basically, to review for this class, I have to reread 3 books, go through a bunch of lectures, go through a bunch of quizzes, go through the practice exam, and then I think I'll know better how I am doing. And while I'm reviewing, I'm taking notes and reviewing those notes. And so what's going to help me reach that goal? I'm just going to read the questions. I'm not going to give any answers because then this is going to be like 2 hours long. What is going to help me to reach that goal? What steps do I need to take each day to assure that I'll reach the goal for the week? What might get in the way / what are some obstacles of me reaching the goal? And what can / what will I do to overcome the obstacles during the week? I've definitely got a lot of obstacles in the way. Most of the obstacles are just myself, to be honest. Like, I've got time. I don't have a lot of good focus, and sometimes my energy is just all over the place, so I don't really know when I'm going to have the best energy or the least. But I've got to be doing something at 9:30 in the morning tomorrow, so I don't want to stay up late tonight. I kind of got a little sidetracked and didn't really study enough today. I pushed it off and pushed it off and pushed it off. Now I don't think it would be wise to really study now, but I should probably study in the morning. I've got 2 more hours left. I think that it'll take me to read this book. Then I've got 2 more books, so I need to finish it by Friday night. Usually my goals are Friday night sundown because I do still technically not do things during the Jewish Sabbath. I kind of have kept to that kind of tradition that I grew up with, that I kind of don't tend to do any work. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, for the most part, I don't do employed work. I don't do any kind of work, studying included. I tend to not study either, so I will not be studying until after my friend's party on Saturday. I won't study. So whatever I don't get done with Thursday night and Friday night, I'll have to finish that Saturday night. And I'm not going to party too hard because I've got stuff I'm trying to finish. I don't know. I was going to say I should give myself a day off tomorrow, but I already took a day off Wednesday and I already took a day off today, like half the day, both days. So, but for me, half days are kind of working because I really can't push for the whole day right now. It's just not what I want to do. Realistically, I don't really want to do that. I do feel pretty strained when I try to do that, and so I'm not trying to do 8-hour days anymore. I'm trying to keep it at 4 hours max, but podcast related stuff, I can put in 4 hours at that, and then maybe tag on an extra 2 hours for studying. But a lot of my content creation and other kind of creative projects are kind of where my funds are at the moment, so I'm pretty motivated towards them. But and just because I like doing it, I like posting stuff on here for you guys. Or else I wouldn't do it. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with my evening, but tomorrow's gonna be day 10, guys. So hang in there. I don't know what else I'm posting next. I have no idea, but I will be driving, and you guys know I love to record while I drive. My 2 hours or 2.5 hours to San Diego, it's like I can record multiple episodes in that amount of time. So maybe I'll have enough questions. The problem is I can't really read questions. And those specific questions I read are just things I'm thinking on career-wise, but I don't really know if I'm gonna post on here about that. I might just because it's part of an update, but I feel like it's way off topic. I talk about finance and things like that elsewhere. I don't know where. That was a weird pronunciation of that word. Like elsewhere. And so basically, because I talk about it elsewhere, I am a little hesitant to post it here, but maybe I'll just post it in both spots. because it fits there, but it's like, I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do, because I feel like I do say a lot of times that I'm going to do a specific thing and then I don't do it. So I don't know. I'm going to still try my best to keep posting the regular Aina's Keys, couple pages of reflection kind of episodes, and kind of just keep the format I've been doing, just reviewing my day, kind of what I got up to for my day, and get on with it. But yeah, Aina's Keys, good book. Check out some content by Aina Brown. And alright, my family keeps checking on me, so I'm gonna go. Thanks for listening.